Okay, we're at the end, and I'd just like to make sure that we recognize our sponsors. And you know about XDX, and I was really very pleased that Herb came down. One of his people locally was supposed to do that presentation, and then she had a conflict last minute, and he called and said, I'll come down myself. Wow, okay, thanks. Estellas and Genentech both supplied the monies that helped us pay for the scholarships and everything else that was associated with this. And so keep that in mind. Anytime you run into any of those people, say, by the way, you were a sponsor of this really neat event of that. Thank you. And they like to hear that kind of stuff. It makes them appreciate what they've done. Marketing is not involved in those grants anymore. They're not allowed to in the department, so just know that. But we did get some nice support from them, and we appreciate that. Feedback from your perspective. JT introduced something long ago, and that was closing comments for the good of TRIO. We took care of scholarship payments. You should have them already. We took care of the group photo. We did not have a formal evaluation. I thought of that yesterday, and I just ran, or the day before, I ran out of time, okay? So you don't have a sheet to
You
fill out.
ran out of time? Mr. Organization?
That's true. I got to tell you, you had no idea how much I procrastinated on putting stuff together on this. And so you're absolutely right. But I would like to have the feedback. I'm sitting here thinking we shouldn't do this next year.
Why?
Because so few people came out. If we look at what we got out last year, which was a little bit more, a little bit less this year, what will we get next year? I don't know. But I want you to argue with me if you think we should. I'm sitting here saying, I have a lot of work for, I'm trying to multiply using the camera, using the materials, using what we can to send out to the chapters. I don't know if they're going to open the envelope and do anything with it, to be honest with you. So, talk to me. What do you think?
Well, one time wasn't enough to prove we could do it. Twice, we got some believers now. I think we should go forward with it. I think the people who are here for the first time
Okay.
are a little amazed.
Well, before I forget, and now you can pass those out. We
Okay.
do have a resource about effective meetings that you can take home with you. JT?
I think we should do it. I think this is a lot more effective than a conference and a lot cheaper and a lot less planning and a lot less risk of losing your shirts. I find it very, very informative, and I was a little bit surprised because I tried to get members from my chapter to come up, but I think because of the economy and because of health issues, a lot of people couldn't come. I know Ron would have been here if he hadn't had his surgery, and I think Mike Bozeman had some health issues, so he didn't come. But I really got a lot out of this 2 days, and I thought the speakers were excellent. And I thought the committee and you did an excellent job and be commended for it. And I'd like to see us do it again next year. Maybe our 25th anniversary, you know, we could just tie it into that and
If we
get
do
more
a big
people.
event like we were brainstorming before, maybe for 2012 that would replace something like this. But if you're thinking 2013, for example, do we do this again? What's your thoughts? Julie, you're the first time here. What do you think?
I like it. I think it's a great idea. I've definitely learned a lot, especially being brand new. I think maybe it was a little drawn out. I think it could have maybe been.
What sense?
I just feel like some things I've heard several times, and it's just like either to get something different. I kind of get sick of sitting in a chair for 8 hours straight. I know we have breaks, but you know, get some more like activities or something more fun to be involved. I'm all about having fun.
We'll do
And
that.
sitting in a chair
Musical chairs.
isn't quite my definition of fun.
At conferences, we used to have like an exercise person,
Okay.
you know. I would go in for that because as you probably noticed the last half hour I've been sleeping.
Earl, what do you think?
I think the concept's good. I think I agree with Julie that I think perhaps the methodology or the format could be tweaked to maybe even make it shorter and more concise on some of the subjects. We can breeze through some of it. I think the main benefit I've gotten out of coming here is the sort of fellowship and camaraderie with the other people. And when we're sitting here listening to people talk or videos or anything like that, we're not interacting with each other as much. And I think somehow structuring it to where we interact more, maybe break off in small focus groups, have team building exercise amongst the members. And the social event, like at dinner last night, I think was good, because it gave us a chance to talk about stuff besides this. And people, you can kind of get an insight to who the people really are. But do that kind of, a little more of that sort of stuff,
Okay.
and less of the dry, clinical stuff. You know, just something that would, again, make it more fun. But also, one thing I would touch on, and I'm not trying to be at all greedy, but I think if it costs, you know, people to come to the event and the event makes money, I think maybe evaluating whether or not the travel stipend should be based on the number of attendees and divided up more equitably, so it's not just a vehicle to make money, but because the Trio National's making money, but it's costing the individuals to come to go. So somehow making that, you were fortunate enough to get somebody to sponsor you, and some people are closer. You know, it's different if you drive over from Philly and just have to stay in the hotel overnight, but like Steve and I fly in, and there's that added expense. So I mean, there's different costs associated with coming, and I think that's part of it. You know, like you said, with this economy, you know, there is, and on the little scholarship application thing, Sylvia said, well, you know, it's a $300 thing. And I said, yeah, I know, but I just wanted to show you,
How much it
you know,
costs?
what it cost me to come. I mean, so $300 is very much appreciated. And, but it is something that actually is something that costs people to attend. And not everybody is on the East Coast that's part of Trio. You know, you got people in New Mexico, California, Ventura, you know, Northern California, Ventura, and all that. And if they could come and it didn't cost them money, you might actually get more attendance. You might not.
What would cover not flying in and stuff like that? I mean, Trio, you know, there is some money left in the pot for Trio, not, you know, tons, not unlimited funds, but if, or 500, a scholarship up to 500, do you think we'd get a lot with that? I mean, I'm talking to the choir, I'm talking to people who came on a $300 scholarship, but knowing people in your groups,
I think you
$500
would.
scholarship.
I think you would, because a lot of people right now are on a very, very tight budget paying for their medicine. And
But you really think-
like Herman asked for, if he wanted to go, and he just said, you know, I can't afford it. And I said, well, you got a $300 stipend. He says, yeah, but I have to pay more, and I won't be able
And
to
you were
afford
already
it.
right, so it wasn't gonna cost him more.
I know.
It cost him $100 for a room and a meal. So that's not his real reason, is it?
Well, the airfare alone was $450. Just to come here. I don't know
There
what's
are others,
paid.
but-
Yeah, I offered to ride up with him,
Depends
you know,
on
drive
when you
him
get
up.
in. I don't know where you're coming from. Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's any conference you can go to any place in the country that you're not gonna pay to register and pay your expenses going to. Nobody pays you to come.
You're right.
So it's kind of different. So,
The only way
Very
is if,
different model.
you know, you can, if you personally really want to go, then to ask people, the power of asking, I think is underestimated, especially if it's something you're passionate about. You know, just talking to family members, getting $5 from an aunt, you know, $10 from a friend, it adds up a lot more than you think, so.
Steve, thoughts, comments,
Yeah,
anything?
um,
I'm looking for criticism too, I mean, don't.
First thing, you did a splendid job putting this together.
Well, thank you.
It's
Committee
really-
working together, so.
A couple other things. What I'm intrigued about is how we can, I don't want to use the word capitalize, but what happened with the games and whether that can have any effect on what we do in terms of meetings or gatherings like this. I don't know, but I think it's worth, I can toss it around in our group. Secondly, I was fascinated by the thing on Iran as well as
How about that for an
the
unplanned surprise?
That was great.
LMAP stuff, both of which I want to follow up with. I think you talked about exercising or something. I agree totally. It's too much sitting around. And we just did a meeting with, what is it, Ki Jong and yoga for a whole session. And it happened to be that the woman who's teaching it is a kidney pancreas recipient who's doing her PhD on the effects of this stuff for transplant patients, and that might be interesting. She seemed real enthused about TRIO when she was with us.
Yeah.
And lastly, if you have the contact at Genentech, I'll send them a thank you, because I wouldn't mind getting some sort of contact or relationship with them.
The contact we have with these is through the website grant program. Your local rep is prohibited from influencing those grants in any way. In fact, in the Estel's one that just came through, and I shouldn't even say this, there was a fellow out in the field who we originally went to. He found out that we already had the grant in, he said, I'm sorry, I can't touch it. So the last minute when it hadn't come through, I reached out and said, you know, since we haven't got the grant, is there anything you can do to direct me how to get it moved, or can you step in, given what you said before? And he said, no, not really. He said, here's the phone number to call the grant people. Well, that's what we did. We called them on Monday. And by Thursday, they were back from conference. And so a day before, basically, or Wednesday, whatever it was, we got that grant approved. I sent them a thank you note. I just sent them, hey, thank you, Kevin, for the help you gave. Man, I got a call from him immediately and an email. I had nothing to do with it. I could get fired if they think I had anything to do with it. He didn't have anything to do with it. He really didn't. He gave us a number to call, which probably was on the website. And we've been calling every week.
Yeah.
I mean, he was scared because I said in 2 sentences, thank you for helping us in getting the grant. I used the wrong words. That's how severe it is. So I don't have a contact to pass on to you. It's not like the days when the local rep was a contact or you had a name. In past times, I've had that work. It worked great. Not anymore. In the past 2 years, that has changed dramatically. Local reps can do something like a meal. They've got a whole new set of rules of how they deal with the medical community. And the patients, ooh, they gotta be careful, really careful. And they can get fired because the corporation is responsible.
What should I do?
Okay? Trudy, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I have enjoyed today very much, and I thank you for coming here to our area for this meeting. And the last one I attended was in St. Louis, and I think I enjoyed this gathering even more than St. Louis. This was a smaller group, and I realize you're looking more for numbers, but when I say smaller, it was easier to intermingle with the others, and even though I did enjoy talking to the nurses, etc., they were not there to interfere with my thought process of what you were trying to present. And as you said, the lady that had gone to Iran, that was wonderful for us to start thinking in a different manner. And the idea of exercise, diet, there was a dermatologist that spoke to us in St. Louis. Got a lot out of that one. So these venues offer something to us that we are not always aware of, even though some of us had been further out in years, we still have some problems. But I want to thank you again for this weekend.
I expect that went where it's on the plan. And his planning sometimes overrules ours. Like that. I mean, literally, when I asked her if she would mind sharing 2 or 3 minutes with us, she was reluctant. I said, it's just an offer for you. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to, we'd love to hear anything you want to share. She came back later and said, yeah. So she started talking, and 3 minutes became 5, and then became 10. I couldn't stop her. She was doing great. I looked down at the agenda, and honest to God, I was totally amazed to find that 30-minute hole. It was there. I swear it wasn't there before. Somebody changed the damn Hartford agenda. I don't know what yours says. Mine has 2 to 2:30. Wasn't on there. And the committee reviewed that. Sylvia reviewed it, and they find all these things. And somehow it was there. I look up and say, right, thank you. Elizabeth, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've been to a lot of TRIO conferences.
Including
but
Seattle out on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, because I'm very committed to the fact that we need to educate our members. I'm also very disappointed in the fact that we never seem to get the numbers that we want. But I also think that we should continue because I think it's something we're offering to our members, and if they choose not to avail themselves of it, that's too bad. should be something that the people who can and want to come can participate in. I do agree that the cost, maybe the scholarships should be adjusted up to 500, especially if we're somewhere on the East Coast when we had a lot of members where there was. I think that the committee should take on more of the responsibility of planning it. Let's see. I particularly, well, I enjoyed the whole thing, but I really enjoyed the intuitive intelligence woman. I really found her fascinating, and I'm going to go back and read the white paper because I think that's just really interesting. And I liked the theme. I thought the theme was a great theme.
Is everything connected to the theme? Did you see the connection?
Yes.
Okay. And again, there was education there, but it was meant to be in support of the overall theme. Getting excited, so you go back there saying, hey, maybe I can do it. Doing whatever my passion is, whatever area that is. I don't care if that's gardening or raising awareness, changing the world.
And I also agree that the socializing is so important. Because many of us may communicate with each other by email or on the phone, but we don't see each other. And, especially people like Trudy or, Claude. I mean, I never see them, and I've known them for years, so it's really nice to see the older transplant, not older by age.
Older by age too.
Well, I wasn't thinking that, but older transplant recipients.
By organ.
And the
The more
newer ones,
experience.
the more experience.
The longer surviving.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay? Susan?
Yeah, I like it, I would like to see it continue. I'm not the one doing all the work, so it's easy for me to say, yeah, I liked it. But I found it interesting and informative, and I like, meeting the people from all over that you don't really get to see. And thinking about the terms of breaking it up. I know that in a business convention that we have, they have one afternoon where they've got a golfing event, but everybody doesn't golf, so they've got, it's not an athletic event, it's more a competitive event. Now, these are in resorts, so they'll do like a beach party and make it competitive. I think last year, they taught everybody how to play, what's the game with the stick in the...
Shuffleboard?
With the little hoops and the...
Croquet.
Okay, you're right. We're not talking big, strong athletic, but something competitive. Now, we can't do that here, we don't know the weather, and we're outside. But I was thinking competitive, I'm tired, because I'm asking crowd, but like a Jeopardy game by teams, or what is it they play in the bars now?
Trivia nights and stuff like that.
Say again?
They have trivia games.
Yeah, there's trivia games, there's a name for them, at least in Philadelphia, that there is, and you play by teams, but it'll break us up. You can't play with anybody, nobody from your trio chapter can be on your team. Break it up, you have to, think amongst yourself, get to know one another, something like that.
What? I don't know who all was on your committee, but somebody did an
I'm
awful.
sorry. Let me interrupt you. Thank you to the committee. Catherine Pagan, up in New York, is on the committee. Elizabeth, on the committee. Sylvia on the committee. Pat Falk is on the committee, and myself am on the committee. Thank you for everything you've done. And thank you, Sylvia, for all your work in the background back there, taking notes and so forth. And when you get a chance, would you bring Rhonda in here? And do you have the book that we're going to present to her? Or
No, you still have it.
I still have it. Let's do it. We want to say thank you. Claude,
Anyway,
continue.
someone did an awful good job.
That's fine.
And you got lucky with the lady from Iran.
Yes.
That was a meant to be.
We have a gift for everybody
Meant to be.
coming out. Rhonda, thank you very much.
That makes it worth coming,
I'm sure you
Bob.
wanted something else you'd rather done on Saturday. But all of us here appreciate the fact that you sat back there, and I hope you've gotten enough of this. And I hope you're sitting back there because you chose to sit back there as opposed to up here, which you're certainly welcome to, right?
Right,
You
right,
knew
I'm
that.
gonna keep an eye on that hallway.
Oh, okay. We'd like to say thank you, and there's a look of inspiration for you. Thank you very much. I'm giving you the whole.
Here, and I'm doing this in memory of my aunt who died on May 2nd. She was a kidney recipient for 10 years, And my mother, who's also deceased, was her caregiver. So I consider it an honor to be here, and I welcome you all, and I thank you all for joining us. And yes, it was kind of small, and I'm going to let all my volunteers know who aren't TRIO members to think about it. Come on out. And I've already made a connection with Julie here, and hopefully we'll be doing something with TRIO Youth, Nation's Capital, and hopefully that my organization will be much more involved as well to help host meetings here in the Nation's Capital and get the youth together. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This book that you're receiving is a treasury of inspiration gathered. And I got to tell you, I think it's very special. It's a way of taking what we've done here, hopefully inspiring you and giving you something to look at each and every day as you face the challenges we all face and get inspired. So take this, open it up, and enjoy it. And with thanks for all you've done. Bud, continue.
Oh, I just appreciate all the work and the fact that it was very informative.
Good. Dane, your first experience of TRIO. What do you think?
I found it very interesting. It was a very enjoyable weekend. I personally enjoyed hearing Charles Alexander speak yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting, some of the stuff he had to say. Also with Troy Zimmerman, I thought some of the legislative stuff was very interesting, because I know in New York and probably all over the country, our main focus is getting legislation involved, of somehow getting something passed to get more people to join the registry somehow. I know with the donor family side, it's a little different, where we feel it's more as a gift. I know in New York we're trying to do different ways of, such as when you do register for your license, it's an automatic on your license where you'd have to opt out. Challenges with New York is we have a long period between renewals. But to hear some of his ideas of really getting to local legislation, state legislators to get more involved, I thought was very interesting. I enjoyed everybody's stories that I heard all around here. It was very interesting. We all have different backgrounds, but we all have one common goal, and I thought that was really enjoyable.
How would you improve the meeting?
I think more social. I mean, we had a nice dinner last night, but not everybody was at the dinner last night.
We went to Georgetown.
We went to Georgetown. But that's another story.
Had more fun.
No, I wouldn't say that.
They put more miles on their car.
Yeah. Very quickly, I'll tell this story. Lou and I were running an errand to go to the Apple store, and I typed in my GPS where to go, and it sent us into the middle of Georgetown in a residential area on a Friday night. And if anybody ever has been to Georgetown, it's a very congested area on a Friday night. So a 10-minute ride turned into about an hour and 40-minute ride.
Did you ever find the Apple store?
We eventually did, yeah.
All
In
right.
D.C. or in Clarendon, or in Virginia?
5 minutes away from here?
Virginia, Tyson's Corner.
We were going to Tyson's Corner.
We're going to Tyson's Corner and went the other way. But I think that was really nice, but maybe a dinner venue maybe more available to everybody, or let everybody know where we're going to meet. I don't think everybody knew I think it was just a spur of the moment, let's all meet at the restaurant, the hotel, but not
Well, we
everybody.
announced everybody to
did.
meet at that hotel, and we were going to decide together. And so in that 6:30, 7 o'clock time frame, those who were there made the decision, and given how tired some were, we said, we hear good things about this restaurant. I wouldn't say good things about the restaurant myself at this point, but that's what we heard. It wasn't done blindly, and it was right there, so we took the easy way out. The alternative was to host a dinner, which would get more people obviously coming out, and then we run up a bill of $1,000 potentially to do that, and we decided, no, we didn't want to do that either, so that's what we got, and we learned a little bit from that, so appreciate your thoughts.
It was good being able to talk about Julie at the meeting too.
Yeah.
Last night.
Yeah, that was good.
Lou, thoughts for the good trio?
Well, I too enjoyed the first outing. Certainly not my first event of this sort. I've been to Faith's leadership, I guess, a year or so ago, which was pretty cool over there. I think, one of the questions that popped up yesterday was,
you know, what are we trying to show on a national level to the chapters what it does? Well, this is it. And if other chapters don't want to take advantage of it, shame on them. And I think we should continue doing this. I think we should concentrate next year's on 25th anniversary, and then kick it off again for 2013 with with another leadership summit like this. I mean, not saying we can't do a mini summit during that time period next year. But I also think we should really look at doing something like Steve alluded to, is filling that gap in the games. We got a huge opportunity to do that and to launch and to get an increased membership, et cetera. I also think we should, you know, the breakout groups are great ideas. Maybe the next one is do a centralized location. If we have a strong chapter in the Midwest, maybe by then Kansas City, we could all fly out to see Merle and focus Merle Jam 2013 around that. Yeah, you never know, right?
To do the summit around Merle Jam.
You know, the takeaway for me personally is two things. I'm going to look at seeing about getting onto a UNOS committee, looking into that, and looking into the fundraising aspect for Trio National itself. You know, we all use it. If you guys look me up, it's Lou Reardon on Facebook. Hit me with friend requests. I got some whacked out friends from all different walks of life that are on there. So I caution, nothing is ever profane or anything on there, but I have some whacked out friends. You're liable to get a good chuckle out of some of their comments.
We don't see their comments.
Well, if it's posted on my wall to them, like my friend Mike.
Well, we don't see everything that you see from your friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, if somebody posts something on my wall, you know, like my friend Mike, who's I've known forever, he's out in California. He's a retired professional wrestler now, an actor. You see him in your movies, he'll just write something stupid on there about me, you know. James has seen some of the comments, but nothing's ever vulgar or anything like that. So hit me up. It's a great way to communicate. I'm on it all the time. And I want to thank Jim and the committee for their efforts.
Thank you. Jamie, for the good of Trio, comments?
Well, I wouldn't have been here if I hadn't received a second notification that they were inviting just the general membership of the local Trio organization. The first time I got the impression, oh, this is for the officers and things. So, you know, I kind of let it slide by. So I'm glad that they went out and made a little extra effort. And I got a lot from this. Probably, you know, a lot of education, but probably the most important is the networking. You know, like you said, there's a big impact in meeting someone face to face that you don't always get through email. And so that's been, and Jim, I think you did an excellent job with managing the meeting, keeping everything on task and on time.
That is a challenge, but we had some built-in flexibility. In that agenda, there was a couple of areas that had some flexibility that helped. And let me tell you, when you got Charlie Alexander speaking, you got Lori speaking, I want to cut them off. That's a rare opportunity to get that kind of attention. So I'm looking at the agenda and saying, okay, what's coming behind? What can I do here? How can we play with that flexibility back there? And I got to say, you worked well with it, so thank you for that. And, you know, we weren't supposed to have that Skype at 20 after 2. That was 3 o'clock. But, hey, we fit in there just fine. It worked out well. So technology worked well for us, thank God. And we had great support here at the OPO. I mean, my internet access, whatever it is, in a computer that does that, doesn't work. And there's the laptop. I had Elizabeth as a backup in case I needed it, but they offered theirs. So we were able to do the things that technology does give you a kick. We have backup systems in place. So thank you, Jamie. And just so everybody knows, what we did is about a week ago, Sylvia and I came up with the idea of putting out a special invite to the local because we weren't getting enough response. We said, my God, these are people that are in the Washington area. I know they're not that well connected anymore because they're not having meetings, but you know, come on out. And so that was that last minute special email blast to the nation's capital chapter list. And I'm glad that you came. And Trudy, I really especially appreciate seeing you here.
Thank you.
And I know what happened
help
to you.
in getting those whites out.
Yes,
She's
yeah.
the one that come out.
That's right. JT, comments for the good of Trio?
Again, I really enjoyed the meeting. One thing, I think we need a cooler room. It got kind of hot in here, which led me to want to doze off. And I do like the the comments that we need more interaction, breaks instead of just sitting here, maybe break out in groups and discuss what happened, what the speaker said, and break it down. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was worth my time, and I think that the committee and you did a very excellent job.
Well, I do also commend those who took the initiative. A couple of different things, like Julie getting up and whether turning the lights or jumping up with her microphone and camera at the last minute, those kinds of things, and even the rearrangement of the room today. I mean, that was the type of thing we need. We need to take initiative. But as our final thoughts, and I thank you for all that, and it's all recorded, and we'll work with that. You will receive more from this meeting, whatever we can to support this in terms of the chapters. We'll be receiving a package for those who aren't represented here, okay? The chapters will be receiving a package with a book, the DVD of whatever we can reasonably come off what we have recorded. Some of the sessions, like the last couple, I'm not worried about the recording as much as it's note-taking. Okay, so it's a matter of going back and gleaning the notes from that. It'll produce a document. You're going to say, whatever happened in the last session? The notes are here, and we could have had somebody standing behind it trying to keep track of the whole movement and who's speaking at the time. It's not professionally done. It's something new we're trying to do. We're not live streaming it, so if that was our secretary in one sense. Really appreciate that. I leave you with one final challenge. Not only to get home safely, but also realize what the purpose of this was. I mean, each individual has different interests and different things that turn you on. Great. But the overall purpose is to give you inspiration, belief that one person can do it. And you heard many a story of people who could do it. And they've done some pretty amazing things which are unique to them. You may not be a mountain climber. I'm not. Okay? You're not a Kelly Perkins. Maybe you're not a horse trainer at the Kentucky Derby. That's not your passion. But I know that you have some passion for something. I don't care what it is. Know that you can go off and use that passion to make a difference in your life, in the world, and hopefully using TRIO as your leverage to take whatever it is you're trying to do and multiply that effect throughout your local network to help those who follow. Let's face it, most people join TRIO because they want to make a difference. They come right down to it. And they see an organization they believe is making a difference and that they can help make a difference. If you're not seeing that in your local chapter, change it. Go back there and make sure that you're empowered and engaged to make the changes so that more people could benefit by what you learn here, by what you're inspired from here, and helping them to find the fulfillment post-transplant, post-donation in making that difference. And so with that, I charge you go home and take that with you. And thank you very much for coming out. I've got to say something, I'm very disappointed. Usually as a leader, I can lead a group to a conclusion. And I said, I don't think we should do this again, and nobody agreed with me. I'm disappointed. I wasn't as convincing as I thought I was. But I'm glad that you felt otherwise. Thank you, everybody.